So guys, in this session, we had an advanced examination of data extraction in systematic reviews where we actually had hands-on practical session. So enjoy the show. Let's go.
We'll be looking at what are the advanced methods? How can you do it sharp? How can you get your work up and going? And not just getting it up and going, but also seeing that it is enabling and it is sound and it is well detailed. So some of these things are what we are going to converse on today. It's going to form the basis of our discussion and our interaction this time. So the first thing we're going to look at on our outline, we're going to have a look at what is the overview of AI in systematic reviews. And we're also going to look at how can AI support data extraction. We're going to have a look on that. Then also, we're going to also look at some of the AI tools for systematic review data extraction. Then we'll look at integrating AI in data extraction workflow. Then we've got to practice. Then we'll now examine some of the challenges and consideration in using AI for data extraction. And then we'll talk about some of the best practices for implementing AI in data extraction. Trust me, AI has come to stay, and the internet is moving at 1,000 miles per second. So it means that it's either you're in the game or you are not in the game. So the manual process of extracting information from studies still holds water, but with AI, understanding how to use artificial intelligence, some of the tools, it makes it more faster and easier. So in this session, I'm going to share how we can use generative AI to map the data extraction parameters of your included study. So also now look at practice exercises. We'll just take a look at those shots. They'll be really, really massive in what So this is AI. So you consider, and here we are looking at AI data extraction. I basically like anything that I'm doing to be very comical. I don't like things that are so serious. I like things that are very engaging and very comical. Now, just as we usually do, we'll start by knowing what is the overview of AI in systematic review. So AI has just become increasingly valuable in systematic review, just because it helps us to manage large data sets and extract data more efficiently. Now is not a time whereby suffering proves that you're an expert, right? So let's say you decide to review or critique the articles one by one. That doesn't make you an expert. That's not what makes you an expert. But your ability to flow with the trend and also come up with what seems to be ethical makes you smart and efficient. So this it still falls under machine learning and natural language processing techniques, which allows for a more faster and accurate extraction because it tries to map the text. And this in turn, it's something that is going to enable researchers to focus on analysis. So if you're performing any form of data extraction or you just started your systematic review, trust me, using supportive AI in extracting your studies is going to make it more faster and more efficient. Okay, so the question now becomes, how can AI support data extraction, which is something a lot of researchers has always been asking. And I could say that for me, AI tools can automate the initial process of data extraction. So the first thing it starts by is by identifying some of the relevant information from large text sources. Then before it now comes down to segment it and pick out some of those desirable characteristics from those studies. So it's more like think about it as imputing your large data set from all your primary keywords into the article, and it has possesses the has ability to extract all the relevant information that you need, even as large as the data set might tend to be. And also, it just tries to reduce manual labor, right? So streamlines the process, reduces the errors, ultimately now leads to a more reliable and a more reproducible review, because the more it is AI assisted, the less likely there will be human error. How can human error come in? Because when you are manually extracting those information, if you can remember in our last session, when we were extracting some of those information like the findings, sample size, participant characteristics, as humans, we tend to make error, we tend to be prone to error. And this is something that can easily be avoided when you use a computerized process that has a more intelligent approach. So these are some of how AI can actually support. And also now, what is AI? AI is just, what are these AI tools that can be used in data extraction? Confidence is there. Most of softwares lately are all incorporating AI bots into it. We've got what we call the Distiller SR, which is AI that is used in automating data extraction. And it also lets you to customize the data extraction form we talked about in the previous session. And we have what we call the robot reviewer that uses machine learning to automate the critical appraisal, extracting the risk of bias and outcome, data from study abstract and full text. And we also have what we call the Ryan tool, which is a screening tool that uses machine learning to streamline type 2 and abstract process. So it just speeds up the study selection process and extraction. So these are some of the things we find from AI for systematic review. It's just not just systematic reviews, but for data extraction. So data extraction is how do we even perform data extraction, which we are going to demonstrate. Very simple. We upload the studies that we're interested in. So if we're using a generative tool that uses NLP like ChatGPT, all you need to do is just to upload the full text of the paper. Then you now set the parameters, which is the prompt, telling it what you want to do. Then you automate the screening and you validate. How do you validate? You validate by doing your manual checks to be sure that it doesn't complicate the review or the entire process. So we're going to go into an exercise. So this looks like what we would call a beautiful picture. I'm just going to jump into an exercise. I'm going to create my worksheet. I'm going to call it my work. I'm going to open that. Now remember, our research question has not changed. We're looking at determinants of teenage pregnancy in sub-Saharan. So looking at determinants of teenage pregnancy in sub-Saharan Africa, if you can recall in our last session, we did mention that for us to extract those relevant data, we came up with our data extraction form, which entails I'm going to put that back again. So let's just check on that quickly. And okay. So this is what our data extraction form looks like. So I'm just going to quickly copy that to save ourselves that time. And okay, cool. So we can try to add another parameter like limitation. Now, remember that when we look at our the process. How can we use AI to perform our data extraction? We did mention that you need all these parameters, right? You need all these parameters, and we already explained how you can formulate your data extraction form in our last session. So what we are going to do now is we're just going to quickly come here. So let's open an AI to like ChatGPT. I'm going to attach. Now, coming back here, remember that what we're interested in, these are the three articles that we have: Article 1, Article 2, and Article 3. So what we're going to do is we want to attach the full text of these articles to this AI bot so that we can run our command and then get our get the information from our data extraction. So I'm just going to quickly click there and go there. I'm going to come here. So I'm going to hit the first article. So it has entered. So I'm going to click on attach again. So I'm going to hit the second article. Okay, cool. So I'm unable to attach the second article. Now, what we are going to do is, if you're using 4.0 stuff like 4.0, right? So what you're going to do, so since you're using 4.0, what we're going to do is simple. We're just going to now extract the information from the title and abstract. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to quickly come here. Instead of clicking that, I'm going to just close this, open, hit there. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to come here. Now, since I'm using 4.0, I wouldn't be able to attach, then I'm going to copy all the text in. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to just say study 1, abstract, study 1, 2, abstract, study 2, study 3, abstract, study 3. Okay, so what am I going to do next? Now here is my study 1, so I'm going to provide the reference of study 1. So I'm just going to quickly hover here, hover into the article. I open the article. Now to get quickly the citation of the article, I'm just going to search the title. I'm just going to quickly do the search on Google Scholar. So I'll just pick the citation of the article. So whichever one that I find pleasant. So I'm just going to pick it. I'm going to paste it there. Now I need the information from the abstract because I want to formulate my data extraction form. So I'm going to come here. Okay, no, I shouldn't have opened that. I'll just open this. So, okay, right now, I already have the study open here. I'm just going to copy that. Okay, let me complete it. Okay, yeah, this is it. So you need all the details and information. So I'm going to just copy that. So I just copied the information from the abstract. So I move to the next study, which is study 2. I'm going to copy 2. I'm going to look for the name. So this is it. So I'm just going to search this on Google Scholar. So I pick out the reference, which is very important. Okay, so for the abstract, I'm going to so I could just pick that from here. So I have that. So I'm going to do for study 3. Quickly, I'm just going to do that. So how do I do for study 3? I will come back to so I'm just going to put it on Google Scholar to be sure I get the reference, and this is it. Copy that. Then I'm going to place it on the study author. Then for the last one, which is okay. So I'm yeah for this. I'm just going to still just hover around here, pick the abstract, and that's it. So it doesn't matter how you choose to arrange it. Now, what do we do? Let me increase this. What do we do? The next thing we do is before we impute this in our generative AI, we now ask it to using this information from the title and abstract. We are typing this. So we'll say using this now the prompt we give to the laptop after we've done up the title and abstract of each of the study now is we say using this information from the title and abstract of the studies. Provide a detailed data extraction table for these studies in the following columns. So this is where we now say for one is study and date. Two could be the title slash objective. Three could be the study design. 4 is the sample size and participant. Uh, uh, so I'm saying those are the 6. Then 5 the method of that connection with our method of data analysis as well, depending on what we want. Anything we have put in our data extraction. Here we put it. We have our main findings. You can have our 6 main findings. We can have our 7 as very cool. So all we'll do is to copy this. Control C, I just copied it and come to PPT and paste it and hit. So instantly it extracts the information across the studies that we're interested in. So remember that this is what we would have just been going through one by one, and it's going to waste so much time. So let's have a look at this data extraction form that we have just done now. We'll paste it here. So we'll go to pattern extraction. So now the next thing you need to do now is to cross-check all that has been extracted. Okay, so cool. Now the next thing we'll now do is to now cross-check all the information that has been extracted from this study. We'll check it in line with the PDF. So when we pick up the first study, we'll be sure that all these are reflected. So if you look at this cross-sectional exploratory, let's look at what we did previously. It's still same thing, cross-sectional exploratory. Using questionnaire, let's look at the method for this self-design questionnaire. So that's the same thing. So this is the main findings, the limitations, and all that. So ladies and gentlemen, this is just how you can perform your data extraction using AI. Then cross-check. Remember, I did say that you have to now go through to check for ethics before you include that particular study. So I'm going to move ahead with our exercise, what we have, and talk about some of the challenges. What are some of the challenges? Some of the challenges and consideration in using AI for data extraction is sometimes it could be the model training. Sometimes when we put in some of the studies, there's the time we want to use the references, and it happens to be that when the AI searches the web, it means that there's lots of things that it doesn't have. And again, bias and inconsistencies. So AI can always generate false information. We all know that. And again, it's human oversight. So it's important that you check properly for whatever thing it's generating. So what are the best practices? The best practice is to get the most out of AI to get it. So the first thing is just to select the best tool and perform regular checks, which we said already, to ensure accuracy, and also document how you used it. At what stage was it used? You could say it was used at your data extraction. So all these are what we really need to look at for today. We started by talking about the overview, how AI supports data extraction, the AI tools for systematic reviews, data extraction, and how you can integrate it into data extraction workflow. And we practiced and we talked about some of the challenges and best practices. And we started by saying that AI has become increasingly available in systematic reviews. And that is why so many systematic reviewers are managing large databases. And again, we said that machine learning and natural language processing technique is a very fundamental part of this AI that allows enables researchers to focus on analysis. How does AI support data extraction? So by trying to bring down large complex data, and also it reduces manual labor, right? And some of these tools could be Covidence, Distiller, SR, Robot Reviewer, Ryan. So to get that done, you have to upload, you set the parameters, just as I give the prompts, and automatically it screens, and everything becomes easier. And in our practice exercise, I started by highlighting the domains which we've already chosen in our last study. And I used it to build the data extraction of this. How did I do that? I started by doing what? By getting the studies citation and the abstract. I did it for study 1, I did it for study 2, I did it for study 3. Now, the next thing I now did was to provide the prompt. After I've provided the abstract and title, which is to use the information and generate a detailed data extraction table in the following columns. So technically, you've got domains on your head, so you could list them out, and that's it. Then we went ahead to talk about some of the challenges, which is model, sometimes 4.0, Form O mini might not really be effective, or depending on where you are. And so it means that the model needs training. Again, it's inconsistencies, human oversight is also very paramount. And in terms of best practices, it's just to counter the positives, which is by selecting tools that are based on um, or tools that are based on systematic reviews. Okay, so and these tools should have their specific domains. Maybe tools. There are some tools that are preferably used for data extraction. Some tools are preferably used for quality assessment. Some tools are preferred to be used for study selection. So it's important to know which tool to use at each point. So you perform regular checkups and document the AI tool usage in all the domains. So here are some exercises. So being on the last exercise I gave, you can go to pick up the 3 papers and extract studies from them. So I'm going to, this is it also. These are the 3 papers that I've used as examples. So you can just search them out, check them out on the internet, and extract studies from them. So in our next meeting, we're going to be talking about risk of bias in research and systematic reviews. So thank you very much for your time and being in this session. It's a pleasure to have each and every one of you. So thank you very much for that. Thank you.